Thank you very much. Arigato. We have time for one or two questions if you would like to address to Mr. Omari. Now or later? I will consider it later. But I will not go forward in this session without expressing my feelings regarding your presentation. Very informed presentation. And of course, many of us can learn from Japanese medical and social, let's say, integrative long-term care, considering that we are learning from a country which have among the highest life expectancy in the world. And this is an example that we can do something for what is follow, what is next. Congratulations again, and don't forget we will be back for questions at the end of the session. Allow me now to introduce the next speaker. Her name is Daniela Soitu. She came from the oldest university in Romania. She is a specialist in social sciences, have more than 20 years experiences in teaching, researching, and practical experiences in gerontology and in some aspects of geriatrics. I know her, actually that's me, so allow me to get further. If I may have the presentation. Maybe we can continue the previous presentation with a challenge. Can we really shape out life in old age, our life? Let's go about us. I can start thinking, considering the events from last evening, but I will just invite you. Let's talk about us. Not only about the others. Let's talk about next generations of old people, not only about those who are entitled on this name or now, who reach this stage of life now. Maybe you consider answers on these questions so far. I will proceed, but hope not boring, with academic structure. From the previous presentations, you already remember about the demographic apocalypse, about the huge impact that the aging population will have upon us. But who will be these old people? Who will make our lives harder? If we will have some answers earlier. But in the meantime, let's start with some numbers. At the level of European Union, Romania is among the first states with significant population decline. Maybe you will wonder, well, you will be less. What's the problem? It's the same problem as you could saw already in the previous presentations. It's more or less the same problem in many countries. Doesn't matter the continent they are. One of the key issue here is the negative natural growth, less birth, and combined with a larger number of deaths. You used to look on the pyramids, but analyzing population. But if I look on the Romanian pyramid of population from the last census, I will not see a pyramid, but a kind of leaf, or let's say a kind of flower. And maybe you will wonder, what's that gap? Each country have her specificity. In 1966, Romanian government realized that the population decline was so high that they had to have some measures. And they positively encourage mothers by financial help and other kind of facilities, and also took some aversive measures forbidding the abortion or other kind of decisions who could lead to a lower number of population. What happened in just 1 year and a half, the population raised with more than, as you could see there, more than 100,000. And if we are looking on the top of the pyramid, you will see that life expectancy is not so high as it is in Japan. But there are still people living longer, and we hope healthier. Some of us did not reach yet that age, but we want to offer services to them. We want to work with them. We want to have the best policies for them. How can we do this? Well, we can search first for numbers. Are there many? And how they are spread around the country. This is the map of Romania. I used to resemble it with a flower bouquet. A child told me once that it looks like a fish, but I prefer my version of flower bouquet. And now, going back to the flowerished bouquet of population, the later adulthood or the older people, we could see there are counties with younger population, around 17% of old people there, but also counties with 27%. So the average is around 22% older population. So it's 1 of 4, it's 1 of 5. So it counts, right? It's worth to analyze what they want from their life. Most of them want to be independent. Most of them want to have their decision regarding not only daily life activities, but regarding financial aspects, regarding spending the lifetime, spending the money, independence in all kinds of decisions. If they have a good health status, that's they want for them, they could do many things, but the things are not so good for everyone. And of course, beyond this financial aspect and independence in decision, they would like to have closer friends, the best friends, and family, not all the community, only the best friends. And those of you who work with them probably know about the theory of social-emotional selectivity that states that as we grow old, we will select the people around us. We will need only qualitative people, not all of them. And of course, if they have children, best opportunities for their children. I invited you to talk about us also. Us considering, according to our self-perception, young or adults or as you'd like. What do we want? We want to be there, to reach that age, but not in any circumstances. We want to be there and be active, to have a good shape, to be in a good shape, good health status. Will we succeed to do this? I'm not sure that any one of us will succeed to remain during all life on the, as the picture in the middle is. Some of us probably will reach the third picture. So all of us want the best for us, and if from Christian point of view, for everyone. But do we have enough resources to do this? Yes, the percentages, the proportion of highly educated people is raised. Active participation, civic participation, it's in place. But young and adults are working more and have less time to spend with their child. We cannot talk in too many cases about children, taking care of children. It happens often for over 20% of family to have just one child. And working for today money, for the well-being of today, it's a challenge if we consider our desires. And that have some effects, these working conditions in our country or in another considered by some of us better country, influence definitely the health status. Do old people have some resources? Of course, probably many people will think first to the earnings, to the saving monies, or we will not talk just about this. They have this for their better living conditions, but they also have experience. They also have life experience from trades, from their work during adulthood, and a specificity of Romania is that over 90% of people own a house, and older people also own their house, and that can be a prerequisite in shaping the best healthcare system. And of course, they have more children than the young people. So, do we have something to learn from each other? Probably the first answer will be yes, older people have to learn from the young people how to use the technology, how to better cope with life challenges. But we also can learn from older people because we may know what they are, what they have done, in what circumstances, and the current results. And that can help us in searching a link between desires, resources, and results. Let's say also life lessons. There is a new perspective. You know, you cannot offer the best services if you will not understand what the people want, what are their perspectives on the things happens around them, about their life history. And this is, we have a new theory, a new approach who will help us to understand individual not only as an active actor of her or his life, but also in the historical context. And I will not start to a history lesson about Romanian past decades, but definitely the personal history is very well linked with the cohort one, with the group with similar age. And also, this perspective helps us to understand the impact of healthy experiences during childhood and during the life on the health status after 65 or what age you would like to. So, this life course perspective will give us some arguments on the significance of the historical events and context the people were live in. So it's not just a story. We are not asking just for stories, but for the meanings of those stories for the people we will work with. You cannot find out the thoughts of everyone. So we had to choose a cohort, a convoy, those born between 35 and 45. And by interviews, we had tried to identify events and life experiences and their perceptions upon this, their significance for these elderly people. We design it. I will skip the academic part, of course, respecting all ethical principles. I will quickly remind you the topics we were focused on. Personal experiences and their significance, personal experience in the group, personal experience and the historical context, and the influence of childhood on their current health status. Just a few words about the participants in this research. They were children during the Second World War. Of course, they were young and beautiful during Flower Power movement. But they are also the parents of the Romanian baby boomers. They was the main builders of new society, of Romanian industrial society during the communist time. But they are also the early retired after 90s. They are the ones who pass a heavy transition from a state status where the state used to give the workplace, house, to a status where they, as parents, have to look for a house, for on a place or for a job for their children. And they are, of course, our fourth age now. Or if we are thinking on status, not about chronological age, they are still on the third age. Let's go through results. So, what are the significant events they consider for themselves during the life? So, just a break. I congratulate all the Polish speakers for their quickly presentations. When it's not the mother tongue, sometimes it's not the, sometimes it's different. So, going back to the significant events of the people we had interviewed, as we could see, they mention mainly life cycles. Childhood, learning a trade, marriage, looking for a job, for a place on the labor market. That means migration for many of them, migration from rural to urban area, having children, and after that we know there is a stage in all of our lives when the dearest have another decision to live, choose another decision. So, as coping strategies, they used to focus, as the psychology of development states, during adulthood on the problem, and during this stage on the emotional coping. I accept what I cannot change, and I go further. But what I found interesting are those key of success. Being nice, behave, do what others do, do something, working and do something. So they were not so adventurous. Let's say they were more or less enregimented. And there is not enough time to make some links with epigenetic presentation from last evening. We'll be back only on the perception of these people. So, if someone will ask you if you feel as a member of a cohort, of a convoy, of a large group of people of your age, of around your age, will you answer yes? Will you answer no? Will you answer I haven't think about it? They also haven't think about it, but we get some answers. They feel members of the groups of the convoy. They used to feel this during the adulthood, because you've seen the last point. They remind themselves that during the adulthood they have to run to take care of children and to do their job. But this feeling of being a member, of apartness, it's still in shape. They are still feeling now members of group, considering the hard part of life. We also have problems. We all have problems. We all have some health difficulties, but on the same time, they realize a kind of ending points. We would like to look for, if you look on the first point, we would like to find many resemblance, but we are not so many. Just 2 of my classmates remain. Did I feel any influences? Did I felt any influences from the historical or social life during their life? Yes. As I mentioned before, from the political point of view, they learn how to control themselves. They learn to be care about what they express, about who they talk, and about what and when. And also, they learn to be responsible. And this can be many things to discuss when we will consider many generations. And of course, there are some aspects of cohort experiences. But maybe for many of you, it will be interesting to see if the childhood experience really influenced the health status on the third age. Or yes, it is. We can mention here some aspects regarding education, which they also felt it as being influential on their status now, not only on the health status, but on their well-being. Many of them would like to have many institutional years of education, but all of them remind about the good advices from the family, so-called seventh years spent at home. And probably this paradigm, we can find in many cultures, not only in the Romanian culture. You remember who we've been interviewed, the people who passed through different kinds of experiences, even on their childhood. So-called social economic status with different kind of determinants definitely influence their health status now. And add to this, there are the gradual degradation during the hard condition of their adulthood. So, do you think we have enough arguments to think on shaping our life in later, let's call it later adulthood, not necessarily in the old age? How can we do this? We know there are many challenges in every country. Every country faces differently the aging challenge. Some of them are using immigrants, even that those immigrants are specialists on their field. Some countries are losing the people who emigrate to work in another country and have to invest more in the healthcare, in the long-term care system. And I can tell you that we are happy having a good strategy. Of course, anytime can be done more, but now we have a good strategy to develop all the standards for home care services, for nursing homes, for caring at home, for personal assistance. That means an informal carer who will take care of disabled people, even if this is an old person. And plans according to European strategies, but not ignoring the cultural context of the country. Even the population is aging. I think we can remind ourselves that actually it's about us. We are aging, so we have to prepare our future system of long-term care. And that probably will help us to make it better. Thank you. Dziękuję.